Hello and welcome back. For today's class, we're going to look into seller screen and we're going to continue from our previous class where the application basically allow user to uh, create new product and also retrieve user information. So our new product form here is ready. We have our take picture section here and the form section down here. Together with the location services that able to retrieve the current state and current locality information from geolocator and geocoding library. However, I did a few changes to the code from the previous class, whereas the application basically retrieve the user information only when when it start to press this button here, the new product button here. What it did, it basically check for the location information first, check for the permission, check for all the requirement for the location related information first before allow user to access the new product page. So that the implementation basically changed from the new product. So as you can see here, I have disabled the check permission get location methods and implement that here. As you can see, the check permission get log is here and only triggered from when user press the button. Okay, so from check permission get log here and then when user press this go to new product methods, okay, which is implemented through this pop-up menu. Okay, you can see the pop-up menu here, the pop-up menu which a value equals 0. Implement go to new product. However, when we go to the new product method down here, first it will check for the login information. If the user ID equals 0, means that this is belong to unregistered user, and ask user to either log in or register an account first. However, if the user widget user ID is not equal 0, and it will continue with this logic, which will start with the check permission get location. And the check permission get location method here updated with this return parameter, which is a future boolean, and it will return either true or false, and will for the service or for the location service to be able to complete. So as we can see from here, the location permission will start with check for the permission. He will check for the permission section here. And if the permission check section or the permission is denied by the user, it will let the user know, please allow the app to access the location. Here, as we can see, there's a new entry for geolocator to able to open location settings. But I haven't yet tried this. I think this is the correct way of doing it. Which means that it will automatically open the location setting from the phone. And the second one is also the same. If denied forever, then it will let user know also, because it won't allow user to enter or to create new entry without the location information. So this is kind of forcing user to enable that and don't allow them to upload or don't allow them to create new product if they don't turn on their position. There's a good and bad things about this. The good thing is that we can control or we can get user location. The bad thing is that the idea of forcing user to provide their location is sometimes can be backfired to developer, and people they don't like to share their location. But for this application, we just want to get we just want to be able to retrieve user location information. All right, so if all these satisfy, the application will continue and get the user current get position and assign this to position object by using location accuracy best, and it will finally return true, which is success. Others, it will return false, and if anything goes wrong, it will return false, and the check permission here will return false. And if it return false, it will let user know, please allow the application to access the location one more time. Okay, so means that we put a stress for user to be able to have to turn on their location. Another changes that introduce update that introduced, which is if this is true. If this is true, means that the application are able to retrieve user information. Then we navigate push to the new product screen with position information, because we want the new product screen to have this position information. And as you can see here, there's a new object here, final position parameter with the required constructor. And whenever we and this class here can use the position information. And now, as you can see in the new product screen, I have disabled the check permission get log, and we should be able to retrieve let length information from widget.position. So from this class, from this object here, we can retrieve the information that passed from the previous class through widget.position.latitude and also longitude, and then we apply to the let length, because we want to have this information and pass to the server. However, we didn't retrieve the location, but however, since we already have the let length information, so we can just use the get address method down here. And this is basically just the same information that we have retrieved before, which allow us to get or to pass the latitude and longitude information to the place mark here, and it will basically retrieve place mark for administrative area and also locality, which allow us to retrieve the country and also the state and also the locality information. So that's why if we retrieve or we run or click on this new product here, it will automatically set our states and locality here as Kedah and also Changlun based on our location set here. So this one, we need to set somewhere that we want to have our default information. And then we can just always go back and then set new product. And then you can see there, if we change to a different location, such as like, for example, here in Alustar. So we set this as a location, and then we should be able to set that as a new location, which will try to access Kedah and Alustar. Okay, so we have that location information ready. Okay, so once we have our location ready, the next step is basically to insert item, all the information here into database. And definitely we're going to need a table for this form to store all the information to the database. All right, so going back to the book here, to our book here. So we have our table for the table products defined here, but there's a slight changes in terms of the names. So I have come out with the tables. So the table should be defined through the structure tab here. So we have product ID. This is auto increment defined by integer type 5. User ID also, I think, is not supposed to have this is set as an integer, but since the user ID we set, we can just change this. Instead of integer, I think it's better to use varchar. User ID, let's say we set to 10, even though whenever we create new user ID, it will create this automatically. But since we just want to insert user ID that we have from table user here, as you can see, the table user is basically the ID is here, even though it's number, but this is much easier because you just want to insert the data into this field here. And this is basically foreign key, which is referring to the table user. Product name, product description, all varchar, except for product price, float delivery, and quantity of the products available. Product sets also varchar, the rest all varchar, and we have one auto entry here called product date, defined type as a date time. Date time always set to 6. I'm not quite sure why, but it will automatically set to 6. And you need to set the default to current timestamp so that it will automatically, whenever we insert new item to the table, it will get the latest or current timestamp from the server, database server. All right, so those are basically the tables that required for the application. So we have all the data here, product name, product description, and everything automatically. We'll be able to retrieve. All right. Okay, so latitude, longitude, state, and local. So we have all the information ready. So now we need to get our application ready to be able to get all the information. And that basically handled through the insert product methods here. And the product method basically implemented through new product dialog. So the new product dialog, which is when user click on this button, okay, this button here. So as you can see, the button will implement some data checking. As you can see from the new product dialog, the first thing that we'll check is for the image, because we want to force user to upload an image, at least one image for now. So we check for the image. We can see here the file type image here is not equal null, and so far null still accepted in Flutter 3.4. And then we let user know that please take picture first, and then we get out from the method, and we have to force user to take picture. So as you can see, please take picture of your product or service. So that's why user will require to take picture from their camera or from their gallery. All right, so we can take picture from the gallery here. The next step here, the second part here is we use a form key to implement a validator. So if I try to add here, as you can see, it will complain about all this non-availability of the data. So product name must be longer than 3, product description, product price, product quantity, and whatnot. So those are some of other options. All right, so we need to enter all the product information. So let's say we find microphone, product information used for computer recording. So let's say product price is 50 ringgit, product quantity, if let's say you have only one, if there's no delivery charge, or if you want to charge user, so let's say you allow for local delivery, so 1 ringgit per kilometer. So that's one. So if we add product, try to add product here, delivery charge, there's a one, please complete the form first. Product, oh yeah, here product price, so I might need to check my product price. Product price, oh, value length, here this is also another options that I might need to remove. The price must not be empty, so yeah. All right, so let's try that. Add products. So now we managed to fill all the forms information except that this one item here. So you can see, please check agree checkbox, so that we ask them to check on this, to click on that to agree. All right, so going back to that, that basically implemented through this is check here, and we'll check if the check is true or false. All right, so once all satisfy, then we can get this dialog, which is implemented through this show dialog down here. So the show dialog will finally implement, are you sure you want to add to the database or to the server or not? So here what we have, insert this product service, are you sure or not? So if user sure, so we have another method down here. So this is basically a little bit deep in terms of method calling. So might not be the best method of doing that, but yeah, it does work so far. And now you can see that the insert product, if user press OK button here, we'll go to the insert product. So down inside this insert product here, you can see we get all the information from our form, product name, product description, product price, delivery, quantity, state, and local. And there's a one additional, what do you call it, variable here, base64 image. So this is basically image. Okay, so our image object or image file that we have here, they cannot be transmitted or they cannot be sent to the server side by using its raw data itself, because this is a binary data. So when we talk about binary data is a binary data 1 and zeros. Okay, you cannot send that information or you cannot transmit that binary data to the server. However, you can convert the data into string by using base64 encoder, which is allow for the binary data to be converted into base64, and it will be in a string, a long string format, which is assigned to base64 image here. So the method read as byte sync here basically convert that, do the conversion, and then we get this long string. And with string, basically now we can just use post array and pass the data into to the server. Here we have our HTTP post here now basically can be implemented through post array. Here I just use post array for now. If you want to get proper, you can use later on. We can just use. I'm not quite sure if you can just put here. Is there any put? Yeah, I think we can just use put, but I haven't yet tried put before because of I'm not quite sure yet those method. But I'm used to post array, so we just try post array first. We just use post array first, and then we create all the body that we want to pass to the server. So this is all the data they want to pass to the database, and all the information is basically inside this body section here, okay, together with the image. Okay, so this is key, this data, key, data, key, data. So all the keys here later on, definitely we need to use our PHP to retrieve all the data, and then the server then will deal with the data. All right, so that for the back end, sending data to the back end. The rest here, this is basically just the same with our registration screen. As you can see, basically the same code that I've taken here for the JSON data formatter. But here we have, once it's success, if it returns success operation, it will pop the current contact UI and then return back to the previous to the seller screen. All right. Okay, so what we need now, so I'm going to disable this first just to demonstrate the thing so that we don't lose the data. Okay, so now we have all this data, and then when we press this button, yes, it will basically send the data to the server, to this file here. But before I press the button, so let's move to the insert product and then try to see what we have inside here. So this is again basically the same with registration. So what we have here up here, this is basically just to check if there's a post array or not. And then down here, this is basically where we do the database connector. We create the object con, and then we retrieve all the post array that we pass from here. So now you can see the data, the key here. It's all the same. User ID, PR name, PR desk, PR price, PR delivery, and all this. basically retrieved by this post array statement, each of these. Okay, even with the image. Okay, we pass the image to the server. All right, so now once we have the all the data, we retrieve all the data. Usually the way that I check the query first is basically not executing all the statement here yet. This is just basically to make sure that we properly receive the data, or we properly get the data first. So let me just disable this first. Let me just turn this off first. Should be able to close all these. So it should be this. Nope. Need to find a method to do that. Okay, but never mind on that. So this is all basically for the database section to execute that connection. But instead of doing that, so I'm going to remove everything first for now, and let's just focus on this SQL statement. All right, so I'm going to take all these and put it away for now. Once we retrieve all the data from our application, we need to build our SQL statement. So there's a quick way of doing that. Actually, instead of having to write one by one, all you have to do is just, you need to go back to your database here, select table product. For example, here, we want to work with the table. Select the SQL tab and then press this insert statement here. So as you can see, we have the insert statement automatically given to us here. So there's no need for us to do all the works. And all we have to do now is just build the query, $SQL insert, and then equal. So our SQL statement will be inside here. All you have to do now, just follow the value. So the value basically start with user ID, PR name. So you need to follow this exactly as this. The only thing that we need to remove is product ID, because there's no need for product ID. This is auto-generated data. And then the other one that we need to remove is the product date, because this is also auto-generated data. Okay, so now we need to follow all the data. So you start with user ID, product name, product description, product price, and replace all the value inside here. So that basically allow you to quickly create your SQL statement and test your SQL statement, either just to make sure that your SQL is working or not. Okay. Before we do any SQL execution, so we might want to check our SQL statement here if the SQL statement is correct or not. So usually what I did is just I'm going to send back response. And this response basically will check our SQL success. Let's say we want to check on that. We just want to have the response, and then we return back SQL insert back through this response here. Sorry, back to the response here. So save on that. So it means that it will automatically execute this, but without the SQL is being implemented through the connection query. We're not doing that. Okay, we just want to check our SQL and then make sure that our SQL is working or not. So here what we have now, so we might want to disable all these. Just not making things, just making sure that we have the correct data. All right, so then what we need now, this is also we need to disable. We just want to print out the response back from, sorry, the response back from our HTTP request. Response.body, so print out the body. Just want to check on that, so save on that. And then let's see when we press the button down here, what we're supposed to have is the response.body. So add product, and then we should be able to see down here, as you can see, the product success. Let me just increase the size of this. You can see the return back here, there's an SQL statement. This is just for us to check. So you can just copy on this to check if the statement that constructed by the PHP file is correct or not. and then you can go back once you copied on that, and then you can go back to your SQL and then put it into your SQL query here just to check. Okay, just to check if the statement is correct or not. So if you see that there's no error here, and then you can give it a try and then check go. So you can see now the statement is correct, able to execute and inserted into table, inserted row ID this, and if you browse your data, you should be able to see your data here. Okay, it's all there. Okay, you can see product name, product description, product price, delivery, product state, local, product latitude, product longitude, and then also product date. So that's mean the SQL should be okay to be used, and you can now I can just delete the data. If you want to make sure that you reset everything back, you can just use truncate and then table product, which will basically reset your auto ID. Okay, so you can see now table no longer contain any data, empty. So it means that the SQL is working, so there's no need to worry about the SQL statement there. And then we can just always go back to the correct response. So here I'm going to remove all this and then put back all the correct response. And then I can just use, if you have any plugin, indent by fold, re-indent file, just to make sure everything look nice. Okay, so something goes okay, we can send the data success. If something goes wrong, it goes fail. And then if something terribly wrong, it will go here. And then that should do the trick, right? So now we can go back to our codes here and enable everything back. All right, so here what we have now, you can see var data JSON decode response.body, and this will basically insert data into database and then check the data status success and show success. But I'm going to turn off navigator for now. There's one thing that I'm going to demonstrate, which is image upload. Okay, so for that, what we need now is to give it a try. All right, so to check first, to confirm that we don't have any data here. Okay, so we don't have any data, and then when we press this button here, add product button, we should be able to see data. You can see the pop-up success, and then when we try to browse, there's a one data here that we insert from this form. Okay, so that's basically quite easy to do, and we're able to implement insert statement into database, which is very, very similar to register user from table user. Okay, so I'm going to delete the data again. So again, you can use truncate to make everything look nice. Truncate table product, and this will basically automatically delete everything. Reset the table back. Okay, so no data. All right, so that is one thing. But this basically allow for the application to have all the data inserted. Okay. But next, what we need now is for the image, and how do we deal with the image? So that basically available from the book here. This is basically the same. We can just insert all data, we check all the query. But this comes with this section, this part here. All right, so now what we need now is the image, and then we want to be able to check to retrieve the image and then store the image into our folder. Okay, but before that, we have to create, or we have to determine where we want to store our image. Okay, so usually I don't store the data or the image into database, but I just put everything into the server directory, unless the data really require really need to be secured, the image secured image. Okay, so let me just fire up my server directory, show the location of the folder where we want to store everything. Okay, so let me just just put everything, put it here so that we can see the server directory. So the server directory should be inside my Pasa v2. And then inside, so I'm planning to have all the image into assets folder. So the asset folder, if we wanted to put everything inside there, okay, so I'm going to create, let's say, like products. Let me just create a new folder. So let's say products, product images. Okay, so whatever the folder names that you wish to use. So this is going to be all the directory that want to store our image and upload it to the server directory. All right, so that can be implemented through here. Okay, as you can see the codes here, decode the image, and then we have the image into decoded base65, base64. So I'm going to pick up a few codes here, and then I'm going to talk about that. Right. So I'm going to take these two code path and put it there to take all that tree. And I'm going to put it into the server side section here. So I'm going to implement right after this section of codes. So if the connection is a success, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a little bit of some decoding first. So the first thing that we need to do now is to decode the file. Okay, so we're going to decode the image into back to the image file. So that should comes from our image here. Okay, so we decoded string here by using base decoder. So we have the image here, the long string image here into here. So we have our file. And then now the file name itself. So the file name itself, I'm going to use the product ID. Okay, so if you remember the product ID that we have here, so whenever we insert new item into database, we're going to have product ID. So since this is a unique identifier, so that we can use this product ID as our information for the product for the image name. Okay, so the way that we retrieve the product ID information, ID, is basically by using this special MySQLi insert ID functions, which basically will automatically retrieve the what do you call it, the recent item inserted into database. Okay, so MySQL insert ID, the recently insert item here, we be able to retrieve that information and then turn that into a file name. All right, so that is one thing. And then once we get our file name, we can set the path where we want to store the image. And here I'm going to store the image as the location here is under folder. It's not inside PHP. So we might need to change the location here. So since this is under folder PHP, we need to go back one folder up, and then the folder is asset. Okay, so might as well just take this. The folder is asset, not images, assets, and then inside the folder we have product images. Okay, so this is the product images. Okay, so we have /assets, which is backtrack one folder, and then we go into asset folder and then product images / and then this is the file name that we want to store, which we retrieve from the product ID, and then we want to store the image as a .png. So once we have that, we can straight away save the file and then return back the success. So this is where we save the file by using the file put content, set where the path is, and then the decoded string. And this will automatically convert the image back into file, complete file name. So as you can see here, the current folder now, this product image contain nothing. There's no image available inside this folder. So let us try to use this and then see if we manage to get the product image available here. All right, so I believe that is all for this. Let's see if we manage to get it to work. Okay, so we have that response. And then once we just build the response, and because we're not going to send back any data, we just set the data to null, and then send the JSON response back to this function here, and then we implement, return back to the application. So now we'll try that one more time, the same data, and then we should be able to upload this image here to the server. We see that this is the image there, and then add product. Yes, success. And then you can see there's an image, new product, there's a new image there. So the same image uploaded, right? There you go. And the size of the image is just 54 kilobyte. It's quite small, but more than enough to be able to be very useful when we want to display back back to the screen. Okay, this is more than enough. So it's quite small, only like less than 100 kilobyte, and we can have as many as we want. And we can further, if you think that you want to make it smaller, because the size here now, you can see the details of the image. If you hover there, 600 times 600 pixel. So yeah, seems to be okay with that size. So if you want a little bit further smaller, 500 should be okay also, so that you can just work from there. But now we have a totally square image that can be very, very useful for our application later on. Okay, so that basically it. How to so if we disable this back and then we just go back, let's say enable back this navigator here. So if we want to add second data, so let me just take second data here. Another side of pictures, let's say this couch here. I want to sell this couch. So crop the image. So instead of define, let's say couch. Use couch. Use couch for 2 years. Okay, so product price, let's say 250 ringgit, product quantity, delivery charge, let's say like, because this is quite big, 10 ringgit per kilometer. And then I'm going to add this new product. So as we can see, our table here, go back to the table. So there's only one item here in the table. So let me just add another one. Are you sure? Yes, it will close and return back success. And then when we recheck back the data now, we have second data with product ID number 2 belong to user ID 1, product name, all the other information is all here. And we can use this information and display this information here once we are ready to list the item, all the item. Okay, so now we have data. So now we can add as much data as we want. And if we have different user ID, we can have different user ID and we can display the data based on the user ID. And then also we can use the product latitude and longitude information here and use the product date if you want to list by date. Okay, so there's so many information that we can have. We can implement for searching, for making the product, let's say, more tailored to the location base, so we can load product which basically within the latitude and longitude. So there's so many things that we can do based on this information. But there one thing that I forgot, I did not see. There's one error that I noticed in the product local there. So I think there's a product local this is not right. So it means that's something that I did not do it correctly either. We have local, so this is correct. And I believe it's here. we have this local, but we have this local. But this one is delivery, not local. So I think that's the cause of this error here. So might as well product local editing controller. So I'm going to take that. So we have that, but we didn't use product local editing controller. We did not pass this correctly. So not the brand, but should be this one. So that is basically the only problem that I see from here. But other than that, it should be working now. So yeah. So I can just edit here later on so that we can get confused. Changlun. Changlun or Changlun? Changlun, right? So that's basically the only thing that I seen incorrect. So yeah. All right. So very, very simple to implement, and this should help you to create new forms. So every time you want to create new product here, we should be able to retrieve, we should be able to store all the data into database. And yeah, there's one more thing that I'm going to add here. So there's one problem with SQL statement is they are not able to handle comma, the upper comma. So something like if user enter information such as, I'm not quite sure, let's say the chala with apostrophe up there. So they are not able to do, they are not able to take the comma up there because that basically will insert into the statement and will let the statement thinks that it is part of the SQL. So the way that we can just avoid that, we can add something like, for example, for any string that we think that can be problematic later on, we can use this add slashes function that able to do that. Okay, so we have product name and product description that we thought that's going to have problems, so we can just add that and to avoid that kind of issue. Okay, so price, delivery, other than that should be okay. Maybe location, sometimes certain location they have that comma, so you might want to implement add slashes here and there from your maybe state also. Okay, so we can add that. This is just to be sure that we don't have this problem because we didn't implement any advanced SQL implementation such as trying to check the statement first to avoid any security loophole. But this is the simplest that you can implement to your application. Okay, so yeah, that's about it for today's, and I hope this can help you to continue with your with the project, and see you later.